Hey guys, Ryan here, and today I'm going to show you how you can turn your YouTube studio from this to this. Let's go. Alright, so first thing you'll notice is I've got shadows coming down on my face because I'm just using the normal ceiling light. Also the camera settings are a bit dodgy, so we're going to need different light, some backlights, some different camera settings, and just fix up a few things in the room. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the camera. So I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to show you the camera settings. So what we want to do is, first of all, we want to set the shutter speed of the camera. The shutter speed should be double the frame rate, so we're going to be shooting at 25 frames per second. So what we're going to do, click on the shutter speed, we're going to take that up to 50. In video you should just shoot double the frame rate. On this lens, which is 18 to 35mm, you want a low f-stop. A low f-stop allows more light in, but it also allows you to get that blurry background. There you go, you can see the background's gone blurry when it focuses on my hand, and then the background comes back. And then we need to set the ISO and the white balance. But it doesn't really make sense doing any of that until I've got the lighting sorted out. So let me just flip the screen around. So right now, I've got this light shining down on me. I might actually take this zoom out a little bit. I've got lighting shining down on me, giving these horrible shadows on top of my face, making my head look all wrinkly and old. So first thing I'm going to do is turn this light off. I've got this soft box. So this was probably like £50 on Amazon. It's not bad, it does the job. So now you can see already I've got a much nicer light on my face, which is great. With the light, I don't want this to go too high. If this comes over me too much, I get these dark shadows and it makes my face look like a potato. So, and if it's straight on, it looks really flat and there's no depth. Ideally, what you want is this like about 45 degrees. And also if the light is close, then you get softer shadows. So here we go. It's actually not looking too bad. I'm looking pretty washed out, but it's not the end of the world. So you want it facing just up a bit. To the side. You could actually have a fill light here. What might make sense, I've actually got some natural lighting over there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and darken this room a little bit. So I'm just going to shut the curtains over here. Alright, so those curtains are shut, so now I've got quite a, let's have a look, quite a dark shadow on this side, but I don't mind that, it looks fine. There's no major problem there. So when you drop the aperture down, the brightness will go up. Bringing the ISO down brings the brightness down, and it also brings the grain down, so it's really good. Okay, so I'm here, and you can see a lot of YouTubers have like their PC or something in the background, but what we can really do to spice this up is add a light to the background. So I have a few options. I actually have this really cheap, crappy LED thing from Amazon. I really want to buy one of these aperture lights, but they're like £120 for a little light. It's like a purpley LED, but if I go and take that and like put that over here, I'm still not a huge fan of the huge shadows on my face. So what you could actually do is you could get another light and you could just aim it at you from the side like this. And the light from the side is going to kind of diffuse some of those shadows. So now I've got the light from the side, I need to replace the light in the background. There we go, this is a little basic lamp, just from the house. It's just like a house lamp, there's nothing special about that light. So now we're looking good, but I want to make sure that my white balance is set on my camera. So the best way to do that, I'll jump over to this phone and I'll show you, because I'm still very white at the moment. Like I am white, but I'm very white at the moment, or maybe even pink. So to set the white balance on the camera, you need something white. And then we're going to go back to photo mode, and I'm just going to take a photo. I'm going to take a photo of this sheet. So trying to do this with like one hand is pretty impossible. Just bring the ISO down a little bit. Alright, cool. So I need to take a photo of this sheet. So I'm just going to put the phone down. I took a picture, and now all I'm going to do is go into menu and then go to scroll across on my camera. So white balance is already set to custom white balance, but we'll just do it again because the scene might have changed. So we go to custom white balance, and you can see it's got the picture of me holding the thing. Yep, okay, use that. And now I'll go back to video and I'm gonna hit record again. Are we recording? All right, so now I've set the white balance. I actually just want to get that fill a bit more on my face. Now I've set the white balance, you can see that everything is just looking loads better. I've got a bit more color in my face. Final thing, this footage is actually being shot on a cine style profile. So what that means is you get a preset when you buy a camera or a phone. There's a preset set of like color values, so lightness, saturation, all that sort of stuff. So even your phone, it's set to a certain color range. So to get the best dynamic range, you can download a profile which brings all the settings down, gets you a better dynamic range, and then you can actually color grade to get a better look after. So if all that sounds overwhelming, this will do. This really will do. I mean, look at me. I look way better than I did just a minute ago, even if I say so myself. I do feel like my face is like maybe a bit too bright, but otherwise I'm pretty happy with this. It's acceptable for YouTube. So what I'll do finally is I will take this into the computer and we'll color grade the footage, and finally it'll look like this. Alright, so let's have a look at how we do the color grading. So what I'm going to do, I've already color graded, obviously we're looking at the edit for this project now. So what I'm going to do is I'll just duplicate this for an example just to show quickly. So what we do is we actually adjust the levels of the main track, just the brightness and saturation and stuff, and then we add an adjustment layer with a few presets on. I actually learned what I'm about to show now from a channel called Color Grading Central, so I really recommend you check that guy out if you get a second. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up to window and then just go to workspaces and color, and then get the color wheel and everything up for this piece of footage. And the first basic correction we're going to do, we're going to open up Lumetri scopes on the side. So the first adjustments we're going to make, we're going to click on our track, and because it's all very flat because of the profile that I've got on, we need to adjust this. So we're going to adjust the blacks, make them a bit deeper until they're around 0 on the visual up here, on the black and white visual up there. Then we're going to adjust the whites until they're just a bit brighter. This scene's actually a little bit different to the other scenes, so the whites weren't nearly as high. So what we'll do is we'll just adjust the whites. So let's just drop the blacks down to around 0 by here. I actually want to just bring them down a little bit more. So I think that looks fine. We're just looking at the dark areas, making them dark, and then the lights, the whites, we're going to just bring up a little bit closer to the top. I don't actually want to do too much there. So the next thing we can do is we can just play with the shadows to just darken up and soften the shadows, and then the highlights, we're just going to boost them a little bit and just join between, bring the contrast up a little bit, just merge the black and the white. So now if we turn this off and then turn it on, you can see that we've got the blacks a bit darker, the whites a bit lighter, a little bit of contrast between. That's a lovely face that I've paused on there. Let's find a great face. There we go. Okay, so let's just embarrass me a little bit. That's fine. So then the expose, you can bring that up or down, but to be honest, I kind of liked it where it was. Contrast, we don't want too much contrast. I give these a wiggle, and I just look at the light against the dark, and does it look natural? Shadows there. Play around with the whites a little bit. You don't want the white. You don't want the white splashing over. You kind of just want it, and you don't want, when you're controlling the blacks, you don't want the blacks turning grey, but you don't want the other colors turning black. So you kind of I think I just nailed that bit there. Alright, so that's the first part of the color correction. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get a new adjustment layer. So let's go to new item, new adjustment layer. Okay, and bring this adjustment layer over. And now what we could have done, I mean, we could have just done this to the actual shot, and drag the adjustment layer over all the shots, because you do each shot differently. But this is all pretty much shot in the same place, so we don't really need the adjustment layer if it's one clip, you know, in the same place. But the adjustment layer can go over multiple clips and still give it the same look. So this time we're going to just go down to curves, and we're going to go straight down to, and we're going to go to HSL secondary. And now what we're going to do to add that sort of blue, so I've actually been looking at different types of LUTs. So to get this blue, this blue film look, this orange and teal film look, what we need to do is we need to isolate the skin so that we just affect the background. So the first thing we're going to do to isolate the skin is we're going to go to set color here, and we're just going to click on the skin, and then we're going to go to color gray, and you can see that this keys out the color, which we can then control down here. So the first thing we're going to do is we can just play around with these sliders to make sure that we're getting the skin. So you can just adjust these a little bit like this. So you don't want the wall, you know, you want just the skin there. Yep. So that's looking good. It's a good benchmark anyway. So we invert that, and you can see the skin and the lamp are highlighted. Everything else isn't. So now if I start dragging this tint in, if I turn this off so that we're not keyed anymore, and I start bringing this tint, let's go, there we go. So we turn off the preview. If I bring the tint in, you can see we're kind of getting the bluey, greeny sort of hue. But what we need to do now is we need to add another Lumetri color just to stop that spilling off into the shadows. So it's not in there. What am I doing? So let's go to effects. Let's add another Lumetri color. Again, this is pretty much a tutorial from Color Grading Central, so you want to check that guy out. He's better than me, but I thought I may as well give you the whole thing, because at the end of the day, this is what I've done. So then if we go back down to Lumetri color, you can see we're selected on the second one. So what I want to do now is I want to go down to curves, and I just want to go down to hue, luma versus saturation, and I'm going to just bring the end down and just put a little drop in here. And now if I turn this off and on, you can see like the shirt, so it's all got that blue tint. So if we turn it on, if we turn it on, my shirt goes back black, and we don't get, my shirt's actually navy, so we don't want to lose that. But if we look here and we're looking at my shirt, if I turn it off, you can see the shirt goes more navy, the shadows have got that tint. Whereas if I go click the Luma versus Sat on, I've dropped these shadows off. The technicalities behind why all that works and how, I don't know. So I know you're going to pretend to try. The final thing we want to do really is we want to do the same sort of thing again. And this time I'm going to get my Lumetri color. I'm going to go to effects, go to Lumetri color. I'm going to add another one. We'll go to HSL secondary again, set color. And this time I'm going to set the lamp. Actually, no, I'll set the skin. That's fine. We'll go to show mask and play around until we've got the skins, all the skins selected again. There we go. And he actually adds some denoise and a bit of blur in the tutorial as well. So now we've got the skin selected. We're not going to invert this. We're going to just hit we're going to turn the mask off, and now the opposite of the teal is the orange. So if we actually dip this up here a little bit, we can get a bit more of an orange sort of color, and that matches with the light as well. So with this on and off, you can see we get that film graded look, which makes my eyes look really blue, my skin looks orange. So that's that film look. I probably haven't nailed it like I did there. So with that being said, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you fancy learning about After Effects, I've got a course with a huge discount. I go over everything from start to bottom, how I've created a business creating scroll stopping videos in After Effects. This is all in Udemy, and I'll leave a link below for a really stupid discount. It'll be like less than $20. Anyway, that being said, thanks for watching. This has been Ryan. I think that's it. Alright, see you in the next video.